Holly Knight says writing with Elton John's songwriting partner Bernie Taupin was a little different. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. Holly Knight wrote a lot of hits with her longtime songwriting partner, Mike Chapman. But there were a lot of other people that she co-wrote with through the years. One of the important ones that got my attention is writing with Elton John's songwriting partner, Bernie Taupin.
How did you end up working with Bernie Taupin?
Well, Bernie was like one of Mike Chapman's best friends. So he was like one of those people that, when Mike would say, I'm going to put you together with someone, he put me together with, or he introduced me to Bernie, but then the three of us wrote. And we wrote, a couple of songs. It's interesting because my experience with Bernie, he's different than some lyricists, because some lyricists will write not only lyrics, but they'll write, now they call it top line. But really what it is it's just, you're thinking of melody. You're not just writing words. Whereas Bernie is more like a poet where he writes it out like poetry and then he hands it to you. And you have to basically dissect it and fill in the hooks and the repeating parts and make sense of it. And he's more freeform, and I'm sure that's how he's done it with Elton. So that being said, Elton's done a pretty damn good job of, they have that chemistry where whatever he gives it, he turns it into something,
There's that thing that I've always thought when Bernie was writing a song, he'd send the lyrics to Elton. And I always wondered what his reaction would be to something that you start the thing, and then basically it's like a present. He gives it to someone, and that person does whatever they want with it. What's been the most different version of a song that you wrote? Is it like Love is a Battlefield, that when you heard it, you're going, well, that's really different than what I thought, but were there instances like that?
That's probably one of the bigger ones. It was just that it was much faster, the tempo, and it was kind of like made sort of Bo Diddley-ish, like the most of the time I'm quite pleased with the versions I hear. Once or twice I've heard songs that I thought were smashes, and I gave them to a producer, actually turned them into album tracks because he didn't know what he was doing, and just took a hit and made it into something ordinary. It's amazing when they do that. Yeah. And sometimes they change it just to change it because they want to put their own stamp on it and make it their own. And then there are other times where they copy and they even ask me to send them the track so they can see what it was I did because they couldn't figure it out themselves. And I've had to stand up and say, I want a production credit for this because you told me you wanted the track so you could hear what I was doing, and then you have to use the track. Well, there was actually one artist. I worked with this artist, Otep, and I knew that was a vocal that I had done with her because I had to move certain things around and do certain things that in my ears that could never be duplicated by someone else, So I knew when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, this is my track. And I wrote and I said, you know what? I want a production credit. You've used the centerpiece, the vocal, from my demo. Those are my production tracks. So, and they had to do it. They had to give me credit.
Well, that concludes our series with Holly Knight. I talked to Holly for like an hour and a half. That's why it took so long for us to get this series on here, because editing an hour and a half interview usually takes a day and a half. Having said that, we're still backlogged with a lot of interviews. If you want to support this channel, simply buy a t-shirt. We're hiring students out of school who will edit our interviews so we can get them to you sooner, because in the last 6 months, we have been backlogged with so many artists we've talked to, but we want to get them on here for you. So thank you. Links in the description of this video. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. Take care.